Okay, yes, I think we are live. Thank you to those of you who've joined us today. Another in our episodes of Xcession TV. Just very quickly, I'm Daniel Gilby, account manager at Xcession, joined as always by my co-presenter, co-star Sunil Duggal. For those of you who've not attended one of these before, I'll just throw up a slide very quickly as to give a bit of a very quick flavor as to who, what, why, in Xcession, what we do. But in very short terms, we're a managed services consulting and implementation partner around all things ITSM and ESM. Check out the website when you have time. Today, we have a very slightly different sort of session. We're very pleased to be talking to a new entrant to the UK market around the ITSM ESM space called Efecte. We'll bring them to the stage momentarily. But Sunil, if you'd like to say a few words for those who've not joined us before.
Yeah,
thanks.
So a quick intro, Sunil Duggal, CRO of Xcession. Looking forward to today's conversation because, as we've said many times in our series, Dan, that there are lots of players in the ITSM, ESM marketplace, but it's a big market. Just before this, I had a quick look. People, sort of range of values, but we're kind of roughly around the $20 billion mark, apparently, the ITSM marketplace. So, there's lots to play for. So when new companies come into the marketplace, I think it's always really interesting to understand what they see that's different about their product and how that fits the changing needs of the customers. So this should be a good one.
Absolutely. And without further ado, we'll bring to the stage Santeri from Efecte. Santeri, great to have you with us today. Thank you for taking time to speak with us and tell us a little bit more about Efecte. Just for the sake of the audience, if you wouldn't mind perhaps giving a quick intro to your good self, please.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, gentlemen. And hey, thank you for having me. So my name is Santeri Jussila. I'm from a company called Efecte. I'm Chief Product Officer there. So basically, me and my team, we're responsible for Efecte offering. And very happy to be here today to tell you a little bit more about our company and what we do.
Fantastic.
So
the first thing, Santeri, before we ask a proper question about the Efecte product is clearly you're from Finland. So if we continually pronounce your name incorrectly, apologies in advance for that. So yeah. Let's kick off with I guess maybe a bit of the background of Efecte. I mean, you're a new or relatively new entrant to the UK market, although you do have, I think, more than one UK customer. So not completely new, but you are quite established in the Finnish market, and I think also in some other European countries as well. So not completely new to the ITSM world, but maybe just take us back a few years. Tell us, why Efecte came about, some of the history and the story there.
Yeah, absolutely. So let me just start with the very, very short basic intro, and then I'll talk a little bit about those defining elements behind our story. But first, in very short, we are a service management product company specializing on really helping mid-sized organizations across Europe to digitalize and automate their work. And we cover a broad range of processes, obviously the whole ITIL thing, but on top of that, 30 plus different enterprise support processes, including also identity and access management. The platform itself has very powerful AI capabilities. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. And we've been quite successful in the marketplace and growing quite fast. Obviously, as you said, headquartered in Espoo, Finland, but physical presence also in Sweden, Germany, Poland, Spain, plus complemented by partner network in multiple countries, including UK. So, those are the kind of the basics of Efecte. And but if you allow, let me just a little bit talk about, on top of that what are the kind of the defining elements in our story. And certainly one is, as you mentioned, the Nordic heritage and coming originally from Finland. And some may say that, hey, why is that important that Finland, it's not that large market and, it's cold and dark up there. So only crazy people live up there and, all true. But if you look at the market dynamic, it's actually a really interesting market to come from. Finland is a high-tech country, so very innovative market. Level of digitalization in the country is very high. There's a very vibrant startup ecosystem, and if you look at the business applications, companies started to actually cloudify in Finland very early. And specifically in service management, we've been seeing enterprise service management use cases already for a long time. Organizations have been quite quickly to adopt new things like AI. There's this type of a willingness and kind of a demand to try and innovate new technologies. So, finding a way to succeed in Finland has been actually a great catalyst for us to expand to various other markets in Europe as well. And we've been fairly successful, as today Efecte product is used by well over 400 clients across over 10 countries within Europe. So that's certainly one thing. And the other thing I would like to also bring up is that there's something in the culture of the company. So we are actually really super passionate about serving our customers. And as I said, that's like rooted quite deep into our culture. And there's this type of a strong sense of purpose towards the customers in our company. And for example, one of the values we have is called "Make It Happen," which you can see sometimes, something like really igniting Efectians to provide that type of a special service to our customer. And combining with the fact that we are local, we are available, customer can talk to our leadership, can talk to our product manager, and typically customers really love that. They score our service really high as they have the access and they really love to work with us. And we think that those are the kind of the things that have been super important to our customers. So we've got a very high customer loyalty, and once customers start with us, they typically, stay with us and they keep growing the operation. So those kind of things, and at the moment, obviously, I do need to also raise a third thing, which is very topical for Efecte, which is we as a company, we are actually just about to embark on a new chapter, or I would say next chapter in our story. So literally in a few days' time, Efecte will also join forces with another European service management vendor called Matrix 42, which I'm sure the audience may be familiar as well. And together we're going to form a stronger new service management player to the European market. And the background for that is that we jointly believe that European organizations will deserve a strong European choice. And that's something we've been not only like advocating, but actually really concretely doing by both of the companies. And from Efecte side, one concrete example is that part of our story has been something we call cloud on your own terms, which really recognizes the different needs by European organizations when it comes to deployment models and data residency. And we give that type of choice to customers as we feel it's important for European customers. And, those kind of things we want to do also then going forward together with Matrix 42.
There's some really interesting things, I think, in there, Sandri. I've just written a few of them down. So maybe we can talk about some of these. Mid-size.
Just before you get to that, Son, I have a question, and sorry to cut across you. But Sandri, how old is Efecte? When was the company first formed, founded, however you want to?
Yeah, thanks. That's a great question. Actually, it's we just celebrated a 25-year anniversary of Efecte.
Okay.
So there's kind of two sides to that story. So on one hand, Efecte has a long history, already 25 years serving IT and support organizations originally in Finland. But the other side of the story is that if you look back like really 5 years or so I think we really reshaped the company strategy and started to both modernize the product and also internationalize the business. So from that point of view, there's also this type of feeling within company that we are a young company, we are a new company, we are really up and coming and growing, even if we have this long history already behind us.
Oh, sure, thanks. Sorry, Sonal, you were going to...
That's okay. I thought it's a really great question, Dan. So good, yeah. So a few things I picked up, Sandro. Mid-size, right? Be interesting to understand what that means in a second. You talked about this kind of make it happen ethos within your business and customers responding to that. So that to me is really interesting, because one of the challenges I think that we see in the SaaS ITSM marketplace is that there is a huge emphasis on customer acquisition and not such a huge emphasis on customer satisfaction. And often the lack of sort of customer satisfaction is sort of manifested because actually changing from one ITSM toolset to another ITSM toolset is quite complex and quite often business critical transition, irrespective of the size of organization you are. In fact, Dan will probably agree that sometimes, working with the smaller organizations, it's more difficult, right, to transition than working with the big ones, because people are so passionately involved in the decisions that are being made. So I just picked, no real questions there. I mean, maybe other than to say, what does mid-size mean? But I just thought that was a really interesting view that you've got there. So the question is, what does mid-size mean to you?
Finally, we got to the question. Really.
Sorry.
Yeah, but and yeah, absolutely, and yeah, appreciate. I think you really captured it also well in terms of that kind of service and approach to the customer, and we very much like to think alike, that it's having a SaaS product and having a really good product doesn't mean that you are faceless, that there's no like contact to you, which is something we hear quite a lot, that our customers are saying that, look, we absolutely loved the fact that your product manager came and visited us. So I mean, we know we can talk to the guys who built this thing. So we absolutely love the fact that there's a dialogue. I mean, they understand. I mean, we can't always do every single thing they ask, but that the fact that there's a dialogue goes a long way. And also, just in terms of like servicing the customer, that how you support them, how you have people to help them to onboard things, to adopt things. So sometimes, I mean, no matter how well we build the software, so it's there's also the people element in the organizations that we can't forget, and that's why either us and our partners, we really want to make sure that aspect is there. And so certainly. So what comes to the mid-size and the mid-market, so I probably need to disappoint you that I don't have super exact box to tell you, because from one aspect it tends to be a little different from country to country. But one way to think about is that the Efecte product we've seen is really, really good at, if you take away the really, really small companies that have 5, 10, 20, maybe up to 50 employees, and then if you take away that multinational, you're really the largest of the large customers. So often we haven't been really the choice there as well. But in the middle there, you've got this small, middle size, and also some of the larger enterprises that where we've seen our platform provides really good fit, and we kind of call that mid market, and that's where we are addressing.
Yeah. Okay. So Sandro, I will. I suppose there's great opportunity in that space, but there's also lots of competition for particularly that big mid-market and small enterprise. I think many service management organizations recognize probably that the dominant player of ServiceNow in that true enterprise space is going to be very hard to shift. So there's a lot of focus, but I suppose that brings us perfectly onto the next question, which is, so what makes the Efecte product, or I think it's a sort of group of products in some ways, isn't it, different to the other vendors that you're in competition with?
Yeah, absolutely. And this is obviously a core question for all of us in the, all of the product vendors in the market. And the short answer is that Efecte is a very complete service management product with the capability set that's really proven to satisfy even the need of large customers, but comes with the price point and customer service and that proximity and engagement that makes sense for the mid-size and mid-market buyers. And so that's the kind of the essence. But if you allow, let me just elaborate this point a bit further, because I feel this is super important. So because you often see this type of a discussion that, well, it's really like, can you be more specific? So who has got the feature A or who has got the feature B? And we actually kind of try to look at this a little differently. So more from the lens of a customer, that instead of like comparing that who has got the most features or the shiniest boxes, so is the product and overall solution adding value to customer, and is it satisfying the different like user needs? And if you look at it from that lens, there's typically really not a one or two single things that can enable this, but it actually does take a combination of many things. And that's why we talk about the importance of having a balanced and complete set of capabilities, which, from Efecte point of view, it means that we have wanted to build a product that is at the same time very quick and easy to start, with best practice processes available out of the box, but also genuinely flexible to adapt to different future needs without you needing to sacrifice that, okay, I broke my upgradability, or now all of a sudden I need to pay a lot of extra money because this just wasn't in the vendor's feature list. So this is one of the core things that we try to like really build this type of a product, that you don't need to compromise between these two worlds, which sometimes in the market we see that, okay, there's a little bit of this, that you either get very, very easy or then you get very, 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 very difficult. At the same time, we wanted to build a product that is actually super easy to use for end users, but also having a rich set of capabilities for the power users. So again, not just flashy UIs, but actually a user experience for different user types that we feel in reality is what the customers requires. And we talked about AI, so very much equipped with AI, but again, not just AI for the sake of it, but in a very affordable and concrete manner. And I can talk about the value there a little bit later. And you could talk about the deployment model. Efecte, we feel, is pretty unique in terms of that we can run it in your own data center with all the efficiency principles that cloud provides, so it's your choice. So these kind of things we have built together and then try to wrap that with, as I said, like a price point and TCO that really makes sense for the companies we talk to.
That's a really interesting point you make about the fact that we've got feature A, we've got feature B, C, D, E, etc., and so on. However, whilst they are important, what's more important is, well, what do you want to achieve here? What's going to be the output and the outcomes? I mean, that's something we talk a lot about at Xcession, where you could have ITSM tool A or ITSM tool B. They're both highly capable, but that aside, what are you looking to drive from utilizing them? So it's very interesting to hear you sort of talk to that approach when you're engaging with customers and indeed future customers or future prospects and so on. Sorry, Sonia, you look like you were about to just jump in there with something.
I think you're beating me to it today, Dan, on a regular basis, because it's not so much about feature; it's about the attainability of the value from those features.
Yeah,
and we talk, I think quite a lot about this. If you invest, again, I'll reference ServiceNow. If you invest in ServiceNow, be prepared to make a big investment. You can drive a great deal of value, but it requires a lot of input and a lot of investment. Other tool sets, and Efecte sounds like one of these, you might not be able to drive at an enterprise level quite the same degree of value, but you might be able to get 80% of it with a much smaller investment profile. And, and I think that's, Honestly, I think that if you are not approaching the marketplace in that way, though, you are probably not thinking about it correctly. So it sounds like
it sounds like you have that full customer focus thing kind of, in hand. So that's great.
Yeah.
Great to hear.
Yeah, totally. And look, I mean, obviously as an Efectian, I'd always love customers to choose us. But really, if I think of it as a person being in the building enterprise software, B2B software for quite a while, I kind of really fundamentally believe that customers should really think of it also from the point of view that, hey, what's suitable for me? I mean, what are my needs of my organization, and not just like that I blindly take something because it was I heard the name somewhere, and that's really the thing we really hope that customers give us a chance and they look at, because we feel that we've got like a lot of things that really make sense for them, and for some customers they may say that, hey, okay, it doesn't make sense to me, and that's a fair game. But as long as you kind of think through that, okay, what are my needs, what kind of value I'm really look after, and is this a solution, the product and the people and the whole thing, is this something that can help me? So then, that's all I can ask for.
Yeah,
no, absolutely.
So let's talk about, you mentioned it, let's talk about AI, because I know that you guys have a slightly different approach perhaps to some other organizations around AI and the use of AI. So Dan did a very interesting LinkedIn article recently saying that, having done a review of some of the AI functions that exist within service management solutions today, they mainly seem to boil down to summarization, some suggested
knowledge creation, things like that.
knowledge creation, that kind of stuff. Tell us what the Efecte view of AI is, how it can be implemented, and this question of attainability, right? How attainable is it for customers?
Yeah, absolutely. And let me kind of let me come to that. And I'd really, if you allow, I'd like to come to that also from that like a value angle first. And a bit of a history first. So we've started the AI development some 4 or 5 years ago, and we released about 3 years ago our first AI feature. And really, where things started to accelerate was, as we kind of mentioned in the beginning, was about 18 months ago when we acquired a AI technology company from Poland, which really gave us technology and very, very good team that helped us. For example, last year when the whole big revolution with the generative AI technologies came, so we felt we were really well positioned with the team and were able to leverage that pretty quickly. And today we have well over 25, so something between 25 to 30 customers using AI with our service management. We call this Efecte AI, so that's a kind of a brand that is in the system. And then on top of that, there's about 60 or so customers who use those AI tools outside ITSM domain. And very importantly, our own service desk is one of our customers, if you will. So they are also using the Efecte AI software to serve our customers. So, based on those client experiences, we've kind of learned that the key thing with AI is to be able to demonstrate first the value. All the others will follow, like, how do you set it up? What's the technology behind and all that. But if you connect with the client that, okay, this is the problem we are solving and this is what the value we are creating. So that's a hugely important starting point. And we've been fortunate because we have very good examples, like where does it really help? A few examples maybe. So one is if you start from the end users, so obviously self-resolution rate, something I think everybody's trying to tackle. And we've been able to really achieve very encouraging results there. One of our clients was able to solve up to 30% of the issues in the self-service with the help of AI assistant. So big boost there. You mentioned like the tools to help agent, and of course that is important. So we also have a lot of those. So with the overall idea that we can help the agent efficiency, and we've seen there like for example, 30% improvement in efficiency to handle emails, agent satisfaction, increasing response times, getting faster, and quite interestingly, especially with the junior agents, we have seen particularly good impact on the productivity, because it's just easier for them to get up to speed when you have this type of helpers. And maybe the third example is from a service experience point of view. So, we've seen that the service desk teams can provide better experience. So one of our IT service provider customer, for example, was able to achieve up to 50% reduction in the response time that they are able to give to their end users for support requests. So those are the kind of concrete value examples that we feel that like they take away the noise and the hype, and then they allow us to focus on the real deal. That okay, what are we really trying to solve? Obviously, yeah. I mean, then if you allow, I can quickly talk about the how do we do that, all of that. So we've got it's a product family. It's called FEAI. So it comes as part of the product. We really try to make it as seamlessly as possible. So that these are integrated with the use case. So you don't need to learn anything new. So if you're using something, so then the assistant comes and help you. And something that is very important, that underneath, we believe in this model of giving customers the choice. So I know that many vendors are providing AI by leveraging the, for example, OpenAI or other provider-based models, and we've got that option also. But also, especially we see in Europe that there are organizations who really do not want or are allowed to integrate their data to these provider-based models. So quite uniquely in the mid-market, we also provide an option of an Efecte hosted AI model. So you can literally run AI in your local data center or in your private data center or in like Efecte managed data center, and this way you can be 100% sure of your data residency also if you so choose.
Yeah, and that is different because, as you say, many of the other vendors are just leveraging, the
open models.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah, I think this concept of the customer's choice of SaaS data center is I mean, the UK market, there's probably not much doubt there are many customers who are running on-premise solutions, but the sort of de facto go-to-market for vendors is SaaS, right? I mean, I think it's where almost everyone's energy is focused. But it's important not to overlook, I think, the fact that customers may prefer a choice, and actually, if you are offering a choice and others are not, then that gives you I think a clear differentiation, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And really the beauty of that is that often people think that, okay, well, when it comes to my data center, so I lose the efficiency of cloud. But actually what we do is that as long as you've got, like in your data center, you've got a certain operating system, a certain container management, we run it like a cloud. We run it exactly like a cloud. So we upgrade it, we operate it, we monitor it, same software, same price, can scale up, scale down. So you just need the customer's responsible for the infrastructure and they know exactly where the data is. But we can give them the cloud experience in their own data center. And this has been something that customers love because, they are both. Some customers are forced to take this route, and then some customers are choosing to take this route. And that's why we want to give them the choice.
Yeah, I think on-premise will be around for some while yet, whilst everybody would like to have things in the cloud. The vendors, certainly, most of them, as Sanders pointed out. So on from AI and other things kind of development, that's been the big development in the market of the last however many months now. What would you say was going to be kind of crucial to the ITSM, ESM market space over the next, what's going to be the next big thing? What are the folks at Efecte looking at can you share these kind of secrets with us?
Yeah, it's obviously, there are a lot of things happening in the market I would say we probably see all the same things that you see and other vendors see. But if I talk about like what do we see, like where do we see this whole thing going into in like next 3, 4, 5 years? So the future, I mean, like the future, obviously we see that this is going to be a bright future for service management, but we actually think it may be a little different future. And we've been thinking about this quite a lot. And we think that long term there may well be a need, and there probably will be a need, a bit of a paradigm shift and paradigm change in the service management. And so what do we mean by that? So specifically, I mean, we think quite a lot that the future service management needs to change from this current fairly like reactive and very service-centric solution that's like guided by a lot of rules that are fairly static, into something that is much more proactive, actually takes end user into center, so end user centric, and starts to follow more of a principle of AI-based learning systems. And why do we think like that? Well, it's at the macro level, if you look at the business context, and I'm curious to hear what you guys think about that. But what we see is that it's just like the workload for the support teams out there and the organizations just keeps increasing. And at the same time, there's an evidence that what we do as a market with the automation, it hasn't really been able to keep up with all of that. So, for example, if you look at the statistics on cost per agent, so each contact that agent handles, sadly, it's been actually increasing over the last 3 years and not decreasing, which tells us that, look, there's something that's not right here. And this is a mature domain, and there's a lot of very, very good stuff done by ITIL and all the practices and processes. But at the same time, like this industry, we are putting billions and billions and billions into R&D, and still we are still kind of trending to a little wrong direction. So that is why we think that maybe we just need to like think differently and like start to really, really put, for example, the end user into centric. Like a lot of, if you think of the consumer services, they're all about like profiling and understanding the end user, and then really based on that data, giving you the service. And we in the service management, we kind of come from the other way around, that okay, here are our services and processes, and this is what we do. So I think we got to flip that. And similarly with the proactivity, so if you like think of today's system, so it's almost like predominantly they're waiting for trigger to come from somewhere. So it's a kind of a passive system by default. But we really need to think differently, that there's so much information and so much we could do by just like using the data and automatically finding things and proactively offering guidance, offering things to end users and doing stuff. And you see a little bit of these here and there, but that's like I think that this kind of a fundamental shift is going to happen sometimes in the coming years, and that's really what we are like thinking, that okay, how do we start building towards that?
So I think what you've described there, just if you were to give it a headline, is the user experience. So we're talking about XLAs now versus SLAs, and I think you're right. Having the user at the center of those services and tools and solutions that sit around that, almost trying to anticipate the need before that user then says, "Oh, I need to request, I don't know, a new phone, new laptop, something," but being able to sort of almost foresee it. That's very interesting. We've just to be the timekeeper, chap, on my Finnish Sunto watch. In fact, just got to get that in there. We've
Congratulations! It's a good watch, by the way.
We've just tipped over the 30-minute marker here, so I'm going to invite kind of closing comments for those of you who've joined us live. If you've got any comments, questions, and so forth, or indeed if you'd like to find out more about Efecte, obviously reach out to Santori or Sanela, and I'd be happy to make an introduction. But Sanela, any kind of last questioning from yourself?
No questions. I think that I love the vision of the future where not just in technology and technology services, but in broader business services, that organizations are able to operate with less command and control. Yeah, which is sort of what you're describing from a technology perspective, where it's not about centralized command and control. It's diversified out to the end user community. Well, similarly from a business function perspective. So I love that vision. I have no idea how we make it happen. But I think if you're on that journey, Santeri, then we're there with you. But I would just like to say thank you. I mean, it's really, for people who watch our channel, right, it's not just about, obviously we have some vendors we work with, but it's not just about those organizations. For us, it's about people consuming these technologies, trying to understand what's happening in the marketplace. So it's great to have you and Efecte as a new voice, on the channel. So thank you for that. Yeah, likewise, Santeri. Thank you very much for your time. Very, very interesting conversation. And to the audience, thank you very much for joining us today. Again, just, if you would like to know more, please do reach out. And thanks again. We'll see you on the next episode.
Thank you.